my collecting turned into our collection. And it isn't restricted to one genre. Our house is full of different tastes and styles. But one thing holds true, we all seem to love those exclusive releases.
Record collecting is on the rise. In 2022, vinyl sales surpassed CD sales for the first time in 35 years. And like many, my collecting has just begun. Come along with me on my first year of collecting as I talk with other vinyl collectors, local record store owners, as well as bands about what makes them spin.
On this episode, we get back to talking vinyl and spinning rituals with our local collectors. We'll visit the Canadian record store chain Sunrise Records, and we'll talk about the creative process and live recording from Tim Swaddling.
I'm Six Langman, and this is Spinning Stories.
It's just kind of a tangibility and ritual sort of situation. You know, you've got this thing and you're intentionally listening to music. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to throw a playlist on.
That's what I like about vinyl too. It's active listening. Something about a record, it's not discardable. When you drop the needle, you're in it. Like, you've committed to this album and you're going to listen to it. It's
a whole mood, a whole experience from start to end.
I do want there to be some sort of concept behind it, and it's not a necessary thing, but it was what really attracted me to collecting vinyl records in the first place, was that full-blown experience where I'm like, take me to another world. You know, you mentioned the Court of the Crimson King, like that's, you're going on an epic journey on that one. So that's the kind of thing that I really appreciate about the format itself. So singles they're fun, but you know, I don't have to go flip it every 2 minutes.
It's a lot of work. Or maybe like a jukebox. Put them all in a jukebox. Just like press some buttons, like let it play. That would be great.
They're not my favorite to listen to, but they are my favorite to collect.
It's not for everybody, but I enjoy my Friday nights filled with 45s, dipping into everything and being open to the possibilities of your collection.
It's not geared towards one genre or one kind of pressing or what have you. I just buy what I like because I like the music.
I find myself bouncing around genres quite a bit. I have amassed a great collection of like indie folk. My dad's a huge Leonard Cohen fan, so I sort of picked that up growing up. I do collect a lot of like classic metal. I have my Slayer, I have some Metallica, and that's what I like to listen to on my own time. I find that this is a great system for entertaining and having people over and just engaging with music as a group. And a lot of my friends don't like some of the harder stuff that I listen to.
Now the bulk of the music I buy is from bands that I go to see live. So they might be a bit more off the radar bands. If you put all the records that I have in chronological order of how I bought them, it would be a timeline of like, you know, you would see things like, you know, Culture Club and, you know, Madonna early on, and then you'd see like a lot of the grungy and alternative music and the indie bands in the 90s and the 2000s. You'd probably see a bit of a lull because I didn't buy a whole lot of vinyl in the early 2000s. And now you're going to see this resurgence of a lot more indie, a lot more local bands.
I still am very eclectic in my musical taste. Like, my vinyl collection is just all over the place, where you have like your classics and then you have a lot of hip hop.
I mainly collect bands that I grew up listening to or bands that have like severely influenced me.
No, I don't think about genres. I think of music in terms of just vibration and the sonic, you know.
Oh, it's just all different. Yeah, it's definitely different genres for sure. My name is Martin Talbot. We're in Windsor, Ontario at Sunrise Records. They are nationwide. They're very Canadian owned. They are very pro-vinyl in a big way. And I hear a lot how we're a lot of people's favorites. So hearing that only reinforces my choice to be the manager here and to serve the community, I guess. If I get a request for a certain artist, I'm pushing it, oh yeah. And then I'm making phone calls. Like, I have conversations with my management about getting things that customers literally want. Just a little challenges involved where we're competing with other areas that allow us to only get what we can get. Unfortunately, that comes with disappointing customers at times. Different vinyl covers, different colors for some of the vinyls on here. No, those sort of sell pretty quickly. We put the little Sunrise exclusive on there, and we have a lot of people that look forward to coming in to purchase those particular ones that are exclusive to us. There's still a lot of different vinyl to go around, that's for sure.
That may be true for most vinyl, but this limited edition Record Store Day release reissue on red transparent vinyl in a gatefold still eludes me.
For me at least, something about vinyl in evenings or Sunday afternoons, something that would be more leisurely, something around that time, because when I'm on the hustle and when I got other things to do, the other mediums happen to be more convenient for me.
Weekends, I'll come in the basement, and generally because it's the morning, I'll listen to easier listening. Blues, jazz, not that much jazz. I don't want to seem like I'm all that smart. I'm trying, but yeah, I'll put on more mellow stuff. It's not necessarily Slayer on Sunday mornings.
So Sunday mornings always start off with Easy, done by Faith No More. There's something about Mike Patton's voice.
Sunday morning time when you go to gospel? Is there a record on a Sunday morning you go to?
Well, sometimes on the weekend it's like house cleaning. There's house cleaning records, which tends to be disco.
One of my favorite things to do, I always listen to my record player when I get up in the mornings because, you get up, you start your pot of coffee, you take your vitamins, you put on the record player just so you can sit down in your lovely armchair and have a cup of coffee and maybe catch up on Reddit or something.
Definitely, Crosby, Stills and Nash is my Sunday morning go-to. My Friday night's all over the place. Friday night, that would definitely be on a Friday night. As far as a Sunday morning and a Friday night goes, those are pretty good representatives of what I'd put on.
In any art, the best accomplishment you can do is move somebody's shelf by like this much. A book, a record, a DVD or a movie or something. And so I was like, I want to move my own record collection to put in the S's this much, me, at least one. I've learned so much about Bob Dylan, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, David Bowie, Leonard Cohen, about how they wrote songs and their process, like the artistic process. So I could apply this somehow in theory and see if it works. The box where I keep all the lyric ideas in. Your mobile studio now, it's just a good microphone and run into a computer and you can set up anywhere. So I said, let's find a good room. So we went and looked at what used to be a Canadian Pacific Railroad freight shed. We selected that as the place, and the guy was very accommodating and just happened to be renovating. So he's like, yeah, this summer it's just gonna be sitting there empty, so you can set up and be there for a month. A month of recording at a studio would cost a fortune. It's cost me nothing. In the daytime we're recording, there'd be birds. I mean, you can hear it on the record actually. It's like at the end of Little Timmy, which is a murder ballad in which there's a bird playing part of a conscience thing about the woman who killed this little Timmy. At the end of the song, just as we're letting the last note resonate, you can hear a blue jay. I left that in intentionally. I read about mixing for vinyl and what it sounds like when it goes to record. In theory, if it's pressed well, once it gets pressed to vinyl, it'll warm up the sound even more. So don't try to master this so that it sounds like what you want it to sound like on vinyl. Make sure you leave room for what the vinyl will do to the music. We got the test pressing and it was just what we thought was a great sounding record became even better because we were planning on that because we figured when it just gets pressed to vinyl, this will enhance certain aspects of the sound and the freight shed atmosphere and that kind of thing and really warm it up, and it did. So in fact, I'd would argue that the record sounds better than a lot of people will say that anyways, but the mix, you're not really hearing the completed mix on streaming services because that's the mix that we sent to be pressed, but the pressing is the final process. So it really makes a difference, so I was really happy with it. I should say that a part of the impetus of that, and what this record is dedicated to, is my best friend was killed in a car accident, and he was a record collector. His records are in here. That kind of changed the way I see things a lot. You better do it before it's too late.
Join me next time as I visit Windsor's smallest record shop. We'll talk shoegaze with Talking Violet, and let's just find out how expensive records can get. All this and more on the next Spinning Stories.